Hello, everybody. My name is Brady, and I'm a 19th century American historian, and we are back with another moral sense test. This is a series that I've slowly been cranking out for a little while now. I did two before this. I measured my disgust and psychopathic tendencies. Both were interesting, and I'm excited to get into this one. Today, we're going to be doing empathy. We'll see what ends up happening with that. I think I'm empathetic. Sometimes I have a little bit of trouble relating to people, but I still consider myself an empathetic person. But I guess we'll see what the test says, because the test is objectively right 100% of the time. No. I wouldn't take any of this too serious because they can't account for all factors, but it might give me an idea, at least. So this should be fun. I got 28 statements. They're going to have a little bar thing that I have to adjust until I get to the point where I'm satisfied with where the bar is. So let's get this started and see what they've got for us. And if you want to take the test, there's a link in the description box below. All right. After seeing a play or movie, I have felt as though I were one of the characters. That seems a bit extreme, you know? That seems to go a little far on the empathy side. That's some serious empathy right there. I don't think that necessarily describes me well. Sometimes, like, in my head, I could pretend, like, what if I were that character? But there is that firm separation. Maybe that's something that's going to come into play here. When I watch a good movie, I can easily put myself in the place of the leading character. I'm always there thinking, like, oh, I do that different, or I do this different sometimes. But, like, every once in a while, I'll find a character I can truly identify with. So I will say, I don't know. I might be neutral on this one. I don't find myself often getting super invested in characters because I don't feel like all the characters really fit my personality. I don't think I have a movie personality, so that might be a thing. But you know what? I'm going to put that right about here. I can feel that, given the right character. I sometimes find it difficult to see things from the other guy's point of view. I sometimes play devil's advocate to a fault. But I don't know if I can always pin down people's motivations. That's one of the things. Sometimes I'll try to play devil's advocate, but like I'm dead wrong on what I'm trying to understand for them. But yeah, I definitely put in a good amount of effort to see the other guy's point of view. Sometimes I can replicate it, and sometimes I can't, because we're all different people with different feelings. But I think putting it like right here in the middle is probably good for where I'm at. I am usually objective when I watch a movie or play and don't often get caught up in it. There are some things that come around that get me really caught up in it. And then I become like fixated on like that sort of a film or movie or form of entertainment. I think there are a lot of video games that have done that to me. I think that's a really interesting point. And the fact that that's not included, I'd imagine that would be sort of implied, like that sort of entertainment. But yeah, I think I can get there. I don't often, so I would slightly disagree. There we go. I am often quite touched by things that I see happen. There's only so many touching things happening out there. Like if I see, I'm thinking of like seeing cute Facebook videos of stuff. I can be hit by that stuff, but I do have kind of a cynical streak. I think that's kind of a product of my generation. We are kind of cynical. I'm one of like the last millennials, if we go based on that. So I'm kind of like bordering on Gen Z, and these are both some pretty cynical generations. So I'm thinking about that. I am quite touched by things that I see happen. Um, I'll put myself in neutral there because I do have that cynical streak, but when I see something that I feel is like genuine and really hits me here, like I can feel that, but yeah, I'd probably fall closer to neutral on that one. If I'm sure I'm right about something, I don't waste much time listening to other people's arguments. Hmm. I am not often sure that I'm right about something. I'm usually leaving a lot of room to be wrong about something with the way that I talk. A lot of you have probably seen moments like that. I'll often check myself at the door and be like, "Well, I don't know much about this," or my understanding of this is limited, or like I'm not completely sure, but when I am absolutely sure about something, like in class, I'll ask questions about stuff that I know the answer to because I want to hear other people explain it and I want to hear if my way of explaining it is good. So that's interesting, but I don't waste much time with other people's arguments. I've listened to some funky arguments, so I guess I'll say I slightly disagree because there are some arguments that I don't give the time of day, and if you gave every argument the time of day, you'd not have much spare time. But I've also entertained some pretty absurd conversations for extended periods. It's kind of fun. It's kind of fun. I don't know if that necessarily speaks to me being empathetic if I'm doing it for my own enjoyment, but I don't know. I'm usually pretty effective in dealing with emergencies. I don't think that does describe me very well. I panic. I panic under very little pressure. I'm CPR certified. I hope I never have to use it because I feel like I'd freeze up. Um, I always look to, like, I need an adult. Oh, wait, I am an adult. Oh, God, what am I going to do? That one of those sort of situations. I sometimes try to understand my friends better by imagining how things look from their perspective. Yeah, yeah, I definitely do try. Sometimes it can be difficult, but yeah, um, I sometimes try. Oh, I would say that describes me very well because I very often try to see it from their perspective. If we're just talking about effort being put forward, then yeah, the effort is always there. I don't always reach it, I don't always get where I have to be, but I think in this case, trying is what matters. I sometimes feel helpless when I am in the middle of a very emotional situation. Hmm. Yeah, yeah. I am not the best at expressing myself. And when other people are emotional, I'm not always the best at finding the right words at the right time. Often I'll be quiet, contemplating what I would like to say, but take the longest time to actually say anything. So I would say that describes me very well. I often have tender, concerned feelings for people less fortunate than me. Yeah, yeah. It's one of those things you can't worry about it constantly because if you do, you'll drive yourself crazy. Or maybe you'll go out there and actually do a lot of good. I would, I guess I'll put myself closer to neutral on this one because um, honestly, save a lot of my concern for when it's a little bit more convenient for me to help uh, people. I'm not working in a soup kitchen every weekend. That's one of those things. So I can't consider myself like this this person who really goes out of his way. But when it's in a situation where I want to go out and help people, where I'm feeling like doing something good, I will. So, eh, does, does that put me here or here? I I guess I'm here. If I could put like quarter neutral, I probably would, or like a this little halfway point between here, like between like these two. I'd do that, but I daydream and fantasize with some regularity about things that might happen to me. Yeah, I think so. Um, I consider myself kind of imaginative. All right. I believe that there are two sides to every question and try to look at them both. Yeah. I think that's kind of important when you get into like social studies and stuff because there's even often even more than two sides to things. There's often a million different ways to look at things, so you gotta kind of keep that open. Sometimes I'll fixate on one side over others because it just I can relate to it better. But yeah, I'm always trying to do that. Becoming extremely involved in a good book or movie is somewhat rare for me. Um, hmm. I'll say I'm I slightly agree there. I go through a lot of books and movies, but there's only like a smaller portion that I like connect with, you know? You'll see a million books and it's like, okay, that was a cool story. That was a good story. How many are going to be like, I will go back to that again and again and again or something? Do we have like anything like that? Or like, I want to pursue maybe this fictional universe more and more. So yeah, I think there's a scale to that. I really get involved with feelings of characters in a novel. When's the last novel I read? But yeah. I try to, but like sometimes the character just doesn't come to life enough, you know. Um, but I'll say that's hard. I'll keep myself closer to neutral there. I feel like I need to pull myself back towards neutral on that because I have been kind of dancing between these two a little bit. And if I feel 50-50, I honestly don't know. When I see someone being taken advantage of, I feel kind of I feel kind of protective towards them. Yes, I have a lot of trouble putting myself out there and like speaking up for somebody else. That's one of those things that I find kind of difficult. I think that's more my own assertiveness rather than my inner feelings. I think that's something that should probably be differentiated here. My own assertiveness uh, would pull me back a little bit, and I'd be afraid to speak up for somebody else. But do I want to? Do I feel for them? Absolutely. I would say that describes me very well. Sometimes I don't feel sorry for other people when they are having problems. Um, I don't want to say yes, but it depends on the person. There are some people who like they are their own problems, and if you cry for them, you're going to be crying all day. One of those things, because that's just how they are. They make their life more difficult. Um, yeah, I think I feel okay about that. When I see someone who badly needs help in an emergency, I go to pieces. That sounds like an emotional breakdown of some kind. I think yeah. There's a similar question earlier, but this one sounds like you go to pieces in that you are sad for them. That's how I'm kind of reading it, but I'm not sure. But yeah, I would I guess break down under pressure in a sense. So I guess I'll say that. Pressure is like I never handled pressure very well. Being in a tense emotional situation scares me. Uh, yeah, yeah. I would rather not face tense emotional situations. Sometimes I'll ignore my problems in order to avoid those situations. But eventually those problems come back. So that's one of the problems that come with a strategy of avoidance. It only works for so long, I guess. I mean, I guess some people might be able to repress their problems long enough that they never have to deal with them, but I'd imagine more often than not, it probably comes back and you're going to have to deal with it eventually. When I see someone being treated unfairly, I sometimes don't feel very much pity for them. If I consider it unfair, I like this is my perception of unfair. If I consider it unfair, then I almost always feel pity for them. So I would say that doesn't describe me very well. That's different from somebody having a bad time and perhaps even like causing their own bad time. You know what I'm saying? In emergent situations, I feel apprehensive, and ill at ease. Sure, yeah, I I think so. I feel like some of these are variations on the same question, but they use different language that invokes different emotions, which may make me feel a little bit different about how I want to answer them. Um, when I am reading an interesting story or novel, I imagine how I would feel if the events in the story were happening to me. Yeah, that's a I definitely feel that. There were this is another case where there were similar questions, but this one is saying like earlier I said I would think, "Oh, I would do this or this that or this." Obviously, if I'm in the position, I'm probably going to handle it differently from how me watching from an outsider's perspective from an outsider's perspective does. But uh, in my head, I'm thinking, "Oh, what would I do?" All the time. When I'm upset at someone, I usually try to put myself in his shoes for a while. Um, Sometimes I find it difficult when I'm already upset with somebody. Sometimes I have like this immature, tendency to block out that part. Um, if I've already sort of been turned against them, but like there's a certain degree, yeah, I do try to, but it doesn't go as far if I'm already upset. I think it's better to take myself from a neutral position in order to see somebody. Once you've become invested, it's a little bit more difficult to go back to that objective position. So, uh, I will say that I'm leaning towards disagree there slightly. That is one of those cases where it's like, eh, I don't know. I'm kind of pissed off at them. Maybe I'm worried about my emotions right now. I'm starting to think maybe I'm not as empathetic as I thought I was. I try to look at everybody's side in a disagreement before I make a decision. This is an interesting one because there are often people in disagreements that I am more inclined not to really trust in that situation. There are people I may have biases for or against, but I've also previously stated my perpetual tendency to play devil's advocate, to look at a side that I might even disagree with and try to find validity in it, even if it's not even there. Sometimes I'll try to sympathize to a fault on that sort of stuff. It's not usually as emotional, but sometimes can be. Uh, so I will say that I at least slightly agree on that one. Before criticizing somebody, I tried to imagine how I would feel if I were in their place. I answered one like this before, and I would say this wording leads me towards that. I know some people, when they take these quizzes, they think that the quiz maker is trying to trick them into contradicting themselves by asking similar questions with different wording. I've always seen that as like the different wording evokes different emotions, and it should eventually average out to how you actually feel. So I kind of try to play into that when I'm taking these tests. I don't mind if I end up like one step over on the bar than I was on a similar question, if the different question invokes different emotions, because sometimes that littlest bit of context can change the way you want to answer a question. When I see someone get hurt, I tend to remain calm. That does not describe me well at all. I panic. Sometimes there will be minor injuries, and I'll think, "Oh my God, it's the end of the world" or something, and I'll panic more than the person who's actually struggling. I would describe myself as pretty soft-hearted. I'm sensitive, so I'd say, yeah. My heart is squishy. It's very easy to get me worked up. So, if that's what it means, sure. Other people's misfortunes do not usually disturb me a great deal. It depends on the scale of the misfortune, I guess. I don't drive myself crazy over little things, but I'd imagine this is like bad stuff. I would say that it disturbs me slightly. Oh, that was it. I wasn't even watching the progress bar on that one. Cool. Let's see what we got. Alrighty, let's see what we got. Average empathy score. Okay. My empathy is a 3 out of 5. So, I don't seem to be all that interesting. Not really. There's nothing really all that remarkable about my score. Look what you sat through this to get to that. All right. But I thought some of the questions were thought-provoking, and I don't know, maybe if I went back and did it again, I would feel more certain about some of them, because I'm trying to decide rather quickly on the spot, and I don't, some of them I wasn't completely sure how I felt. I was kind of going with, what is my instinct saying right now? So, another reason why I guess I can't take a test like this too seriously as far as its results go. I might have no empathy. It might be my lack of empathy that led me to where I am. That doesn't make sense. I don't know. But okay, that was interesting. If any of you want to take the test, if you haven't already, there is a link in the description box below to the website. And I think that's about it. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.